Welcome back to Talk Room. You know, we love to take a closer look at the things that really make a difference in our lives, and today we're going to be talking about routines.
Yeah, routines, those things we do every day without even thinking about them sometimes.
Exactly. And you know what's fascinating? We asked you to share some sources about daily routines at home, and you know what we got?
A really insightful piece called Why Daily Routines Are Important.
That's the one. And in this deep dive, we're going to really unpack it, like what makes these repeated actions so powerful?
How do they help us, be more productive, feel less stressed, and just bring more balance to our lives?
Exactly. And along the way, we'll be pointing out some useful English vocab and phrases that pop up around routines so you can talk about them like a pro.
I love that. So are we ready to dive in?
Let's do it. Now, this source starts off by getting the basics straight. Defining what we're talking about when we say routine.
Yeah, because we use words like routine, chore, habit, schedule, kind of interchangeably sometimes.
Right. So the source says a routine is basically a set order of actions we follow regularly, like clockwork almost.
Makes sense. Then there's a chore, which is more like a specific task, often something you do around the house.
Like washing the dishes or taking out the trash.
Exactly. And then a habit. Well, that's a recurring behavior that we might not even realize we're doing.
And lastly, a schedule is more like a planned timetable for all our activities.
So it's like the big picture plan and the routines fit into it.
Exactly. And, the introduction also throws in some super common idioms and phrasal verbs that we use all the time when talking about routines.
Oh, yeah, like rise and shine, which basically means to wake up and get out of bed.
Yeah, and it always sounds so cheerful, like it's time to rise and shine and start your day.
Even if you don't feel very cheerful when your alarm goes off.
Totally. Then there's get into the swing of things, which means to become comfortable with a new routine or activity.
Like after a vacation. It takes a while to get back into the swing of things.
Absolutely. And last but not least, run errands, meaning to go out and do all those little tasks we have to do.
Like, I need to run some errands before lunch, grocery shopping, picking up dry cleaning, the drill.
So true. So we've got our definitions, our everyday phrases now. Let's get into the heart of it.
Morning routines.
Yes. The source makes a really interesting point that how you start your day sets the tone for everything that follows.
Like that first domino that sets off a chain reaction.
Right. So if you start your day feeling rushed and stressed, chances are that feeling is going to stick with you.
But if you can start your day with even a little bit of calm and intention,
you're setting yourself up for a much better day.
Exactly. Now, the source gives us some examples of common morning activities, like waking up,
Of course. But it even gives a specific time. I wake up at 6:30 a.m. every day.
Then there's making the bed.
Yeah.
It's funny how such a small thing can make a difference.
I know, right? The example is, after getting up, I always make my bed.
I've heard that making your bed can actually boost your productivity.
It's like a sense of accomplishment right off the bat.
Exactly. Then, of course, there's breakfast. I usually have eggs and toast for breakfast.
Simple but effective. And then getting ready, which includes showering, brushing teeth, and getting dressed.
Yeah, the source uses the example, I take a quick shower before heading to work.
Now let's talk vocab. The source points out some key words related to morning routines.
Like alarm clock, that trusty or sometimes annoying device that gets us out of bed.
And there's grooming, all the things we do to take care of our appearance.
And of course the to-do list, that roadmap for the day ahead.
Oh yeah, can't forget that one. And guess what? More idioms and phrasal verbs this time for mornings.
Hit me with them.
Okay, so we have kick off the day, meaning to start the day often with something specific like, I like to kick off the day with a cup of coffee.
You can't argue with that one.
Then there's freshen up, meaning to wash your face, brush your teeth, get ready for the day.
Like I freshen up before breakfast.
And then the one we all know and love, hit snooze.
Ah, yes, the ultimate temptation.
The example is, I hit snooze twice before finally getting up.
Guilty as charged. But you know what they say, hitting snooze can actually make you feel more tired.
Really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, it disrupts your sleep cycle or something like that.
Good to know. Now, the source actually has a little exercise for our listeners.
Oh, I like these.
It suggests writing down your own morning routine in English using full sentences.
That's a great way to practice the vocab we just talked about.
Right. And then you can either practice saying it out loud or share it with a friend.
I think I'm going to try that myself.
Me too. Now let's move on to a topic that's not always the most exciting, but definitely important.
Chores.
You got it. The source emphasizes that chores are essential for keeping our homes clean and organized.
And a clean and organized home is a happy home, or at least a less stressful one.
So true. The source lists some common chores like washing dishes.
The example is, I wash the dishes right after dinner, which I try to do, but sometimes,
Life happens. Then there's laundry with the example, Saturday is my laundry day.
I feel like everyone has a designated laundry day.
I know, right? Then there's vacuuming. I vacuum in the living room twice a week.
And of course, taking out the trash. I take out the trash every evening.
All those little things that keep our homes running smoothly.
Now for some chore-related vocabulary.
Okay, we have detergent, the soap we use for cleaning.
Trash bin, where all the garbage goes.
And dusting, that never-ending battle against dust bunnies.
Oof, tell me about it. And we've got some more idioms and phrasal verbs up our sleeve.
Oh yeah, pitch in means to help out with a task, like everyone needs to pitch in to clean the house.
Teamwork makes the dream work.
Exactly. Then there's tidy up, meaning to make things neater, like let's tidy up the living room before our guests arrive.
Always a good idea.
And wipe down, meaning to clean a surface with a damp cloth, like I wipe down the kitchen counters after cooking.
See, even chores can sound kind of fun when you use these expressions.
I know, right? And the exercise for this section is to choose one chore and describe how you do it step by step in English.
Ooh, I like that one. It's like giving instructions.
Exactly. All right, moving on to something that I know a lot of our listeners can relate to.
Work and study time.
Yes. The source talks about how important it is to dedicate specific time for these activities.
Especially if you're working or studying from home.
Absolutely. It's all about creating a productive environment wherever you are.
The source gives some great tips, like setting a schedule.
The example is, I study English from 10 a.m. to 12:00 p.m. Blocking out that time can really make a difference.
Totally. Then there's taking breaks. You can't just work nonstop.
Right. The example is, I take a 10-minute break after every hour of work.
And then there's minimizing distractions, which can be so hard these days.
I know, right? The example is, I turn off my phone while studying, which is easier said than done.
But it's so worth it if you can manage it.
Now, let's look at some key vocabulary focus, that ability to concentrate.
Deadline, that looming date that motivates us to get things done.
And workspace, that designated area where we do our work or studies.
Even if it's just a corner of a room, having a dedicated workspace can help you get into that work mode.
That's a good point. And of course, we've got some more idioms and phrasal verbs for work and study.
Lay 'em on me.
Okay, so there's burn the midnight oil, which means to work late into the night.
Like, I burned the midnight oil to finish my project. We've all been there.
Then there's knuckle down, meaning to really focus and get serious about a task.
The example is, I need to knuckle down and prepare for my exam.
And lastly, wrap up, meaning to finish something.
Like, let's wrap up our work before dinner.
And the exercise for this section is to write a paragraph about your own work or study routine using at least 3 of these phrasal verbs or idioms.
I love how these exercises really get you using the language.
Me too. Okay, now it's time to shift gears and talk about something a little more relaxing.
Yes, relaxation and leisure.
The source reminds us that taking time to relax is not a luxury. It's essential for our well-being.
We need time to recharge so we can be our best selves.
Exactly. The source suggests some popular relaxation activities like reading.
The example is, I read for 30 minutes before bed. A nice way to unwind.
Then there's watching TV or movies. We watch a movie as a family every Friday.
A fun way to connect with loved ones.
And exercising. I take a 20-minute walk in the evening, which is good for both body and mind.
All great ways to de-stress and have some fun.
Now for some relaxation-related vocabulary.
We have hobby, an activity we do for enjoyment in our free time.
Unwind, to relax and let go of stress.
And recharge, to restore our energy.
Love these words. And for our final round of idioms and phrasal verbs.
Drum roll, please.
Okay, so we have take it easy, meaning to relax and not do anything too strenuous.
Like, I'm taking it easy this weekend.
Sounds like a plan.
Yeah.
Then there's kick back, also meaning to relax and enjoy yourself.
The example is, I like to kick back with a good book.
And wind down makes another appearance this time, meaning to relax gradually after a period of activity.
Like, I wind down by meditating before bed.
So important for getting a good night's sleep. And the exercise for this section is to describe your favorite way to relax at home using some of the new vocabulary and idioms.
Can't wait to hear everyone's answers.
Okay, we're in the home stretch now. Let's talk about evening routines.
Ah, yes. Getting ready for a good night's rest.
Exactly. The source emphasizes how important evening routines are for winding down and preparing for sleep.
Because how we end our day can really impact how we feel the next morning.
So true. The source gives us some common evening activities like dinner.
The example is, we have dinner at 7 or 8 p.m. and I try to eat something light.
Then there's cleaning up. I load the dishwasher after every meal.
Family time. We play board games together before bedtime.
Planning for the next day. Before bed, I write down 3 priorities for tomorrow.
Relaxation. I listen to soothing music to unwind after a busy day.
And getting ready for bed, I brush my teeth and apply moisturizer before going to bed.
All great ways to end the day on a peaceful note.
Now for our last bit of vocabulary, nightcap, a drink taken before bed.
Bedtime routine. Those specific actions we do before sleeping.
And relaxation techniques, things we do to calm our minds and bodies.
Like deep breathing or meditation.
Exactly. And for our final set of idioms and phrasal verbs.
Bring it on.
Okay, we have hit the hay, meaning to go to bed.
Like, after a long day, I'm ready to hit the hay.
Then there's call it a day, meaning to stop working or doing something for the rest of the day.
The example is, after finishing the dishes, I decided to call it a day.
Wind down is back again, emphasizing relaxation.
Like, I wind down by reading a few chapters of my book.
And lastly, doze off, meaning to fall asleep unintentionally.
Like, I dozed off while watching TV last night. Happens to the best of us.
The source also gives some tips for better sleep, like limiting screen time before bed,
Sticking to a consistent sleep schedule,
creating a comfortable sleep environment.
and practicing relaxation techniques.
All great advice. And you know what the source concludes by saying?
That consistent evening routines can lead to a more positive end to our day and a more refreshed start the next morning.
It's like a beautiful cycle.
It really is.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, it's clear that routines play a huge role in our lives.
They help us be more productive, manage stress, and create more balance in our days.
And learning the vocabulary and idioms related to routines can help us talk about them more effectively.
Not to mention, it makes learning English more fun.
So to our listeners, we encourage you to think about your own daily routines.
Are there any changes you want to make? Any new habits you want to try?
Even small adjustments can make a big difference.
And remember, routines aren't about being rigid.
They're about creating a structure that supports you and helps you live your best life.
Well said.
That's it for this deep dive into the importance of daily routines.
Thanks for joining us.
If you enjoyed this episode and want to hear more insightful discussions on a variety of topics,
Be sure to subscribe to our channel.
and stay tuned for the next episode of Talk Room.
See you then.